Every ordinary action, every small effort, contributed unknowingly to Earth's defense. Humans had become a network of intelligence, improvisation, and resilience, and the aliens began to notice. The turning point came when Megan Lewis proposed a bold plan. Using a combination of satellites, gravitational forces, and decoy transmissions, humans created an illusion of a massive fleet that did not exist. The alien commanders, believing Earth was far stronger than they had calculated, hesitated. For the first time, the Empire considered retreat instead of attack. Jack observed the alien reactions on the screen. They are thinking twice now. They assumed we were weak, but they were wrong. They expected fear. Instead, they found strategy and courage. Laura smiled. We don't need to destroy them to win. We just need to show them humans are not easy to fight. That is enough to protect Earth. Captain Daniel Harper sent another signal, this time simple and direct. Earth is ready. Humans are unpredictable. Attack at your own risk. The alien response was slow, cautious. The scouts moved carefully, no longer testing aggressively. The humans had made their point. Jack turned to his team. Remember this day. Humans showed the first real warning. We defended our world without firing a single destructive weapon directly at them. And yet, we made them respect us. That is human strength. The aliens retreated from low Earth orbit but continued to monitor from a distance. They were not defeated, but they had learned something important. Humans could not be measured, predicted, or controlled easily. Every human action, every clever strategy, every unexpected maneuver had created hesitation in the Empire's mind. Laura watched the stars quietly. They may return, but now they know Earth is not weak. Humans are not weak. They will think twice before attacking. Jack nodded. And when they return, we will be ready. Humans are strong because we are adaptable, unpredictable, and united. That is the real power no one else has. Above Earth, the alien scouts moved silently. They calculated, recalculated, and hesitated. They had never seen a species like humans before. Creatures who used intelligence, courage, and creativity as weapons. The Empire would remember this. The galaxy would remember this. On Earth, the ordinary people continued their lives. Kevin Long finished his repairs, Lily Morgan closed her classroom, and Robert Fields watched the sunset. They had no idea how close the world had come to destruction, and yet they were part of the defense without even knowing it. Humanity as a whole had proven its strength. Jack looked at Laura. They learned the first lesson. Earth cannot be taken. Humans cannot be measured, and the galaxy will remember it. Laura nodded. Yes, and this is only the beginning. The Empire may test us again, but we will always be ready. Humans are clever. Humans are brave, and humans will protect their home. As night fell over Earth, light sparkled across cities, oceans, and fields. Life seemed calm, ordinary, safe. But the humans above and below knew the truth. The first real test had been passed, and the warning had been sent. Earth was not to be touched, and the aliens would never forget that. Jack stood on the observatory balcony, looking up at the stars. They may come back, he said softly, but they will think twice before touching humans. And that, Laura, that is something no one can take away from us. Laura smiled. Humans are unpredictable. Humans are strong. And now the galaxy knows it. After the first real tests, Earth's people were more alert than ever, though most did not fully understand why. Commander Jack Mitchell and his team continued preparations, but the sense of tension in the orbital observatory was different now. Humans had proven their cleverness, their unpredictability, and their strength. The aliens, though still monitoring from a distance, were no longer acting casually. Every move they made was careful, cautious, measured. Jack walked through the observatory control room looking at the young engineers and pilots. We've made our first warning, he said. The Empire knows humans are not easy. But this is just the start. They may come back. They may test us again. We need to be ready. Always. Laura Benson, leaning over a console, looked up. They are learning to respect us. That is already a victory. Humans have something no one else has: imagination, courage, and adaptability. We just need to use it wisely. Meanwhile, Captain Daniel Harper continued to communicate carefully with the alien scouts. He sent messages of calm but firmness. Humans do not seek war, but Earth is defended. The aliens responded with signals that seemed less hostile and more analytical. They were measuring the humans again, but this time with caution, trying to understand what made them so difficult to predict. Back on Earth, life went on as usual. Kevin Long finished a long day at the repair shop. Lily Morgan helped her students with a science project. Robert Fields walked in his fields, checking the fences and thinking about his grandchildren. They were unaware that above them, the galaxy had begun to take humans seriously. Humanity's cleverness had left a mark that would not be forgotten. Then came the signal, an invitation. The aliens wanted to communicate formally to establish a clear understanding. Jack, Laura, and Daniel prepared for the journey. They boarded a small diplomatic vessel fully equipped for emergencies and traveled to the neutral orbital station near the moon. This time it was not a test or a probe. It was a meeting between equals. Humans and the Galactic Empire. Humans gave the Galactic Empire a clear warning. Earth is not to be touched. The sky above Earth was unusually quiet. In the small control room of the orbital observatory, Commander Jack Mitchell stared at the screens with a frown. He was not a young man, but his eyes were sharp and full of determination. For months, strange signals had been arriving from the far reaches of space. They were faint, and at first, no one took them seriously. But now, the signals were growing stronger, more deliberate. "Jack," said Laura Benson, leaning over his shoulder. She was a scientist, young and clever, with short brown hair and glasses that always slid down her nose. "These signals are not random. Someone, or something, is watching us. I can feel it." Jack rubbed his chin. "We've always known we are not alone in the galaxy, Laura. But it's one thing to think about aliens, and another to know they are actually here." Laura nodded. She had spent years studying the stars and ancient space messages. Her hands moved quickly over the keyboard, decoding the latest signal. "This is not just any alien race," she said quietly. "It is big, powerful. Whoever they are, they have the technology to reach us very fast. Faster than anything we have." Jack turned to look at the view outside the observatory. The Earth hung in the blackness of space, blue and calm, unaware of what was coming. Cities shone faintly, and ships in orbit moved slowly, routine patrols. Life went on below, normal and simple. Humans were used to thinking they were small in the universe. But maybe, Jack thought, they were about to learn something new. "Have we tried sending a message back?" Jack asked. Laura shook her head. "Not yet. We are trying to understand them first. If we send the wrong signal, they might think we are weak. And if they are powerful, it could be dangerous." Jack leaned back in his chair. "We don't have much time. I want the fleet ready, on Earth." The ordinary people continued with their lives, still unaware of the drama that had unfolded above. Kevin Long fixed a machine in his workshop, humming quietly. Lily Morgan smiled at her students, proud of their curiosity. Robert Fields fed the animals, thinking about his grandchildren. In their simple daily actions, they represented what humans truly were: strong, adaptable, and united. Jack, Laura, and Daniel returned to the observatory, watching the stars. "We did it," Jack said softly. "Humans showed the first real warning. Earth will not be taken. And the galaxy knows it." Laura nodded. "Yes. But we must remember, this is not the end. The Empire may return. Other civilizations may test us. But humans have something they cannot predict: imagination, courage, and unpredictability. That is our greatest strength." The alien scouts gradually withdrew from Earth's orbit, though they continued to observe from afar. They had learned to respect humans, understanding that intelligence and creativity could be more dangerous than sheer firepower. Jack watched the retreating ships and felt a sense of cautious pride. Humanity had defended its home without starting a war, showing strength through strategy, courage, and unity. Admiral Luke Carter organized a debrief with the fleet. "Remember what we learned," he said. "Humans fight differently. We do not always need weapons to defend ourselves. Cleverness, adaptation, and teamwork are as powerful as any fleet. That is what makes Earth untouchable." Megan Lewis and her team were celebrated quietly for their strategies. Their clever use of satellites, gravitational forces, and decoy transmissions had created illusions that protected Earth without direct violence. Laura smiled at Megan. "You showed them what humans can do when we think differently. That is a gift, not just to Earth, but to the galaxy." The months that followed were filled with careful observation. Humans continued their work in science, technology, and communication, always preparing for future challenges. The aliens respected Earth, understanding that an attack would not be easy and could come at great cost. The first warning had been given, and the galaxy had taken notice. Jack walked through the observatory one evening, looking at the stars. "Humans are not just survivors," he said quietly. "We are thinkers, planners, and fighters. We use intelligence as a weapon. That is what the galaxy must remember." Laura stood beside him, looking at the same stars. "And they will remember. Earth is safe. For now." But humans have changed the way the galaxy thinks about strength. We have shown that courage, creativity, and unity can protect a world. Captain Daniel Harper spoke from the console. "The aliens will leave, but they will not forget. Humans have made a mark in the galaxy, not through fear, not through force, but through ingenuity and courage." "That is something no one can take away," Jack nodded. "Yes. And we must always be ready. The galaxy may test us again, but humans are clever. We are brave, and we are unpredictable. That is our power." As night fell over Earth, cities sparkled with lights, oceans reflected the moon, and people continued their simple lives. Kevin Long repaired machines, Lily Morden taught her students, and Robert Fields cared for his land. Life seemed ordinary, peaceful, safe. But above them, humans had proven their strength, and the galaxy had learned a truth that would not be forgotten. Earth was defended, and humans were not to be touched. Jack, Laura, and Daniel watched the stars in silence. The first warning had been given, and it had been clear and strong. Humanity had shown its ingenuity, courage, and unity. The aliens had learned that humans were clever, adaptable, and unpredictable. Jack finally said, "Earth is safe. For now, but humans will always be ready. The galaxy may test us again, and next time they will know exactly what they are facing." Laura smiled softly.
Yes.
"And humans will continue to grow, to explore, to defend. That is who we are. That is our strength." As the alien scouts disappeared into the distance, Jack turned to the team. "This is only the beginning. Humans have sent a warning the galaxy will never forget. Earth is protected, and humans will always fight for their home. And that is the power no one can take away." Above Earth, the stars shone quietly. The planet remained calm, blue, and peaceful. But the humans below and above knew the truth. They had faced the galaxy and shown their strength. The first warning had been clear, and it had been understood. Earth was defended. Humans were clever, strong, and unpredictable, and the galaxy would never forget it. Civilian ships, military ships, satellites, we need to be ready for anything. Laura glanced at him, worried. "Do you think they will attack?" Jack did not answer immediately. He wanted to believe humans could avoid conflict, but he had spent his life studying strategy, learning how to survive in difficult situations. "I don't know," he said finally. "But we can't wait to find out." the first alien scout appeared quietly. A small craft, dark and fast, moved into Earth orbit. It was unlike anything humans had built. Sleek and silent, it hovered near one of the space stations, scanning, observing, measuring. Jack and his team watched the live feed from the station.
Laura leaned forward. It's studying us.
It doesn't seem aggressive yet, but it is watching everything. Our ships, our satellites, even our cities. Jack felt a chill. Humans were clever, inventive, unpredictable. But this alien scout was patient and precise. It seemed to know what it was looking for. Over the next few days, more scouts appeared. Each one moved differently, testing Earth's response. The satellites detected small energy pulses, as if the aliens were probing for weaknesses. Jack ordered the fleet to observe and record everything. Civilian ships were asked to report any unusual activity. Humanity was quietly preparing for the possibility of first contact, and maybe first conflict.
One morning, Laura called Jack urgently.
Jack, you need to see this! He rushed to her lab. On the screen was a strange pattern. Signals, yes, but this time with a rhythm. Almost like a language. Laura had been decoding it for hours. It's not a message yet, she explained. But I think it's a warning.
Jack frowned.
A warning? Laura nodded. They know we exist.
They are checking our defenses. And I think they are testing us.
Jack felt a knot in his stomach. Testing humans?
Who does that? We're just a small planet in a huge galaxy.
Laura shook her head. They don't see us as small. Not anymore.
They have detected something in humans. Something they respect. Or maybe fear. Jack thought about the past. Humans had always survived against great odds. They had conquered harsh lands, built incredible machines, and solved problems no one else could. Maybe the aliens had noticed that. Maybe the galaxy had finally learned that humans were not to be ignored. Meanwhile, ordinary people went about their lives. On the streets of New York, a young man named Kevin Long walked to work, listening to music. He had no idea that above his city, alien scouts were observing, calculating. In Los Angeles, a teacher named Mia Carter was setting up her classroom, unaware that humans were about to prove themselves in a way no one had imagined. On a small farm in Kansas, old man Robert Fields watched the sunrise, thinking about his children. Even there, in the quiet fields, the world was changing. Back in the observatory, Jack called a meeting of the Earth Defense Council. Admiral Luke Carter, not related to Mia, stood tall and serious. He was responsible for the space fleet, a man used to planning for war even when there was no war. "We have a problem," Jack said. "Alien scouts are in orbit. They are observing us. We don't know why, but we need to prepare," Luke nodded. "We'll mobilize the fleet. Satellites, stations, even civilian vessels. We'll monitor and respond if they try anything." "We are not going to panic," Laura added. "I think the best defense is to understand them. If we can figure out what they want, maybe we can avoid conflict, or at least survive it," Jack agreed. "Prepare for both. Observation first, defense second. And no one underestimates humans. We are smart, adaptable, and unpredictable." The days passed. Alien scouts moved closer to Earth, silently measuring, silently calculating. Jack and Laura worked around the clock. The fleet conducted exercises, testing strategies, running drills for every possible scenario. Ordinary humans continued their lives below, unaware of the war that might come to their doorstep. Then came the first real test. One scout fired a small probe at the outer orbital station. "It was not meant to destroy, only to observe." The humans responded carefully. They captured the probe, studied it, and then released it back into space, leaving a subtle message. It was a warning. Humans notice everything. Jack watched the feed, heart pounding. "They are testing us," he said, and we passed, for now. Laura smiled a little. Yes. But they will keep testing. We need to be ready for more, and we need to understand one thing. This is just the beginning. Humans are about to show the galaxy what we are made of.
Night fell over Earth.
Cities glowed, lights twinkling like stars in the dark. Kevin Long finished his work and went home. Mia Carter closed her classroom. Robert Fields walked back to his farmhouse. Life seemed ordinary. But above them, the scouts continued their silent watch. Jack and Laura stood on the observatory balcony looking at the stars. "Do you think they will attack?" Laura asked. Jack shook his head slowly. "I don't know." "But if they do, they will find out quickly that humans are not easy to scare. They are going to learn something very important. Earth is not weak, and we will fight to protect it no matter what." For the first time, the quiet of space felt different. The galaxy was no longer just a distant dream. It was close, and humans were about to step into it in a way no one could have imagined. In the days that followed, Jack and his team continued their preparations. They trained pilots, engineers, and scientists. They studied every scout, every signal, every strange pulse of energy. They worked together, learning, adapting, growing stronger with each passing day. And somewhere deep in the blackness of space, the alien scouts recorded everything. They noted the humans' cleverness, their boldness, their unpredictability. Something in their calculations changed. Perhaps, for the first time, the galaxy was beginning to respect the small blue planet. Jack looked at Laura one evening. "Do you ever think about what we are capable of?" Laura smiled softly. "Every day. That's why I stay. Humans, we are stronger than we think. And soon." Above them, the stars shone quietly, and Earth, calm and unassuming, waited for the first real moment when it would have to show the galaxy the truth. Humans were not to be touched. The first message from the aliens arrived quietly without warning. It was not in words humans could understand, but patterns of light and sound pulsing across the orbiting satellites. Laura Benson stared at the screen for a long moment, her fingers trembling slightly as she adjusted the instruments. "It's a language," she said finally.
Or at least an attempt at one. Commander Jack Mitchell walked over, his eyes narrowing.
A message?
"From them? What does it say?" Laura shook her head.
I don't know, but it is meant to communicate.
"They want us to understand something. They are testing us." Jack rubbed his chin, thinking hard. He had spent years planning for unknown threats, but this was different. "The aliens were smart. They were patient. And they had noticed humans. We need to respond," he said. "But carefully. We can't show fear, and we can't show weakness." Laura nodded. "I can try to create a simple response. Something that shows intelligence, without angering them." Over the next few days, the two worked together. They designed a message that used patterns and symbols, something simple but clear. It showed that humans were aware, that they understood the signals, and that they were not afraid. When the message was sent, the aliens did not respond immediately, but the scouts in orbit changed their behavior. They moved differently in ways that seemed almost curious. Jack and Laura watched every movement. It was as if the aliens were learning, observing, and adjusting. Captain Daniel Harper, a skilled diplomat and tactician, joined the observatory team. He had spent years negotiating with other nations on Earth, and now he was tasked with negotiating with beings from another world. He studied the data carefully. "They are testing our reaction," he said. "Every movement we make is being watched. We need to send a clear warning. Earth cannot be taken lightly."
Jack nodded. "We cannot threaten them directly."
"But we must make it clear that we are ready to defend ourselves." The first meeting with the aliens was arranged. Jack, Laura, and Daniel boarded a small diplomatic ship. They would meet the alien delegation in a neutral space station orbiting the moon. The station was old but functional, built decades ago to study the solar system. Now it would serve as the meeting point for humans and aliens. When they arrived, the aliens were waiting. Their forms were unlike anything humans had imagined.
They were tall, with smooth, reflective skin that seemed to change color with their emotions. Their eyes were large and dark, intelligent, observing everything. They spoke in patterns of light and sound that Laura translated as best she could.
"Welcome to our station," Daniel said, trying to keep his voice calm. "We are ready to communicate and understand each other." The aliens paused, their eyes scanning the humans. Then, one of them projected a series of images into the air, a display of destruction, ships falling, planets being destroyed. It was clear this was a warning. They wanted to show humans what they could do. Jack did not flinch. "We understand your power," he said slowly, "but Earth is not to be touched. Humans will defend their world." There was silence. The aliens seemed to consider his words carefully. Then they displayed another series of images, this time showing humans fighting back, clever strategies, traps, and unexpected victories. It was as if the aliens were acknowledging that humans were dangerous in ways they had not expected. Laura stepped forward. "We do not seek war," she said, "but we will protect our planet. If you attack, you will find that humans are not easy to defeat." One of the aliens tilted its head, studying her. Then it projected images of fleets moving through space, calculations, and star charts. They were not just powerful, they were organized, precise, and patient.
It was a reminder that Earth was small in the galaxy, and yet, somehow, humans had made them pause. The meeting ended without violence.
The aliens withdrew, but their scouts remained in orbit, watching. Jack and his team returned to Earth with a clear message. Humans had made the first warning.
Earth would not be taken lightly. Back on Earth, the news spread quietly among the defense forces. Admiral Luke Carter organized drills and training, preparing for the possibility of an attack. Pilots, engineers, and scientists worked together, sharing knowledge and strategies. Ordinary citizens were kept safe, unaware of the full scale of the preparations. In New York, Kevin Long watched the news with curiosity. He had no idea that his world was being tested by aliens. In Los Angeles, Mia Carter taught her students about planets and stars, unaware that her lessons were now more important than ever. On a small farm in Kansas, Robert Fields repaired his tractor, thinking about the future and the safety of his grandchildren. Life continued, calm on the surface, while the humans below were quietly preparing for the galaxy's challenge. Meanwhile, in the orbital observatory, Laura worked late into the night. She studied the alien signals, searching for patterns, meanings, and weaknesses. She had discovered that the aliens relied heavily on prediction. They expected humans to act in certain ways, to respond predictably. But humans were not predictable. They could improvise, adapt, and think in ways that no machine or alien could fully anticipate. Jack watched her work, impressed. "You know," he said, "we might actually have an advantage. They are smart, but they assume the universe works the way they think it does. We don't follow rules like that." Laura smiled, tired but determined. "Exactly. That's why Earth will survive. That's why we have a chance." As days passed, more scouts appeared. They moved in different orbits, scanning cities, oceans, forests, and space stations. Every human action was recorded, every fleet maneuver analyzed. Jack and his team used this to their advantage, creating strategies that exploited alien assumptions. One morning, a young engineer named Megan Lewis discovered something important. She had been working on satellite communications and noticed an unusual pattern in the alien signals. "Jack," she said, rushing to the control room, "they are trying to predict us, but they are using old models, old data. If we move differently, we can confuse them." Jack's eyes lit up.
Good work, Megan. This is exactly what we need.
"We will make them realize that humans cannot be calculated easily," Laura added. "We can turn their own intelligence against them. If they expect us to follow certain patterns, we can break those patterns. They will struggle to understand what we do next." The team worked day and night, planning maneuvers, creating simulations, and training pilots.
Every strategy focused on unpredictability, on turning the humans' apparent weaknesses into strengths. The aliens, observing from above, could not yet grasp the full scope of human adaptability. Captain Daniel Harper continued to communicate with the aliens through signals. He sent messages that were polite, firm, and clever. "We respect your strength," he said in one signal, "but Earth is our home."
You will not take it. You must understand that humans are not easy to control, and we will fight to protect what is ours.
The alien response was quiet but clear. They increased their observation. They tested human reactions with small, harmless probes, expecting fear or confusion. Instead, humans responded with intelligence, strategy, and sometimes humor.
The aliens began to notice that humans were clever in ways no other species had been. One evening, Jack and Laura stood on the observatory balcony, watching the stars.
"Do you think they understand us?" Laura asked. Jack shook his head. "Not fully, but they are learning. And that is enough for now. Humans are not just survivors. We are fighters, thinkers, and innovators. That is what the galaxy will learn soon enough." The first real human strategy against the aliens was simple but brilliant. Megan Lewis and her team redirected a series of satellites to create confusing signals.
The aliens, expecting standard behavior, were thrown off. Their calculations failed and their probes moved in unexpected directions.
Jack watched the screens, smiling. "Exactly what we needed. They are not ready for humans yet." Ordinary people still unaware of the full danger contributed in their own ways. Pilots trained harder, engineers improved systems, and scientists developed new ways to communicate and defend. Then came the first clear sign of respect from the aliens.
One of the scouts approached the observatory slowly, hovering in place. Instead of probing, it projected images, scenes of humans working together, clever inventions and strategies that had confused the aliens. It was as if they were acknowledging human skill and intelligence. Jack watched in awe. They are not attacking.
"Not yet, but they are learning. And they know we are serious," Laura smiled. "This is just the beginning. Humans have shown their first warning. Earth will not be taken lightly. The galaxy will remember this moment."
Above Earth, the scouts moved silently, recording every human action. But for the first time, they hesitated, unsure of what humans might do next.
And on Earth, humans continued to prepare, confident that they could face whatever the galaxy might throw at them. Jack turned to his team. "Remember this," he said. "The galaxy thinks it knows strength. But humans are unpredictable, and unpredictability is our greatest weapon."
The alien scouts had been observing Earth for weeks, testing human reactions to small maneuvers, minor probes, and strange energy pulses. Jack Mitchell, Laura Benson, and the rest of the team had been preparing for the inevitable escalation. Every day they ran drills, trained new pilots, and studied the scouts' behavior. They had learned one important fact. The aliens were patient, precise, and extremely confident. But they underestimated one thing. Humans were unpredictable. It began on a quiet morning. The orbital stations picked up unusual movements in space near Mars. Large ships faster and bigger than any scout were approaching. The aliens were no longer sending small probes. They were coming in force, testing Earth directly. Jack called the fleet together immediately. Admiral Luke Carter's voice was calm but urgent over the communication channel.
"All units, prepare for immediate defense. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. They are coming, and they will test us hard." On Earth, civilians went about their day, unaware of what was happening. In Chicago, a young engineer named Ethan Brooks was testing a new communications relay.
In Florida, a schoolteacher named Lily Morgan guided her students through a science experiment. They had no idea that above them, fleets of alien ships moved silently, ready to measure, test, and challenge humanity. The first strike came not with weapons, but with strategy. The aliens deployed small pods near Earth's orbit, designed to disrupt satellites and communications. Jack and Luke watched the screens carefully. They think they can cripple our systems, Luke said.
But we are ready. Redirect all satellites. Use decoys. Confuse them.
Lara worked frantically at her console. If we time this right, we can turn their own technology against them. They rely on prediction. They expect patterns. But humans don't follow patterns. The human fleet moved swiftly.
Satellites were redirected. Decoy transmissions filled the network, and drones were used as bait. The aliens were momentarily confused.
Their pods moved incorrectly, colliding with one another, unable to anticipate the improvisation of humans. Jack smiled grimly.
Exactly what we needed. Keep it going.
Don't let them regain control. While the orbital battle continued, small groups of humans on Earth began assisting indirectly.
Scientists recalibrated ground-based communication arrays. Engineers adjusted power grids to support the orbital defense. Even ordinary citizens unknowingly contributed by conserving energy or maintaining transport systems. Humanity worked together without realizing how much their daily actions were helping protect their world.
Captain Daniel Harper continued to communicate with the aliens through the signal network. "We are not your enemies," he sent, carefully translating into the alien light and sound language.
But we will defend our planet. You must respect that humans are clever, unpredictable, and strong. The aliens responded with more force.
Large ships deployed drones in swarms, trying to overwhelm the humans' defenses. But Jack and Luke had already predicted this. Using maneuvers designed by Megan Lewis and her team, humans lured the drones into a gravitational trap near Jupiter, using the planet's gravity to scatter them harmlessly. The aliens were astonished. They had expected direct resistance, but humans used intelligence and creativity instead of sheer force. Back on Earth, Jack watched the screens.
They are learning, slowly, he said, but they still don't understand us. Every move we make shows them that humans cannot be controlled or calculated easily.
Laura nodded, and we have more tricks.
This is just the beginning. The alien commanders adjusted their tactics.
This time, they focused on psychological pressure.
They sent messages designed to intimidate humans, projecting visions of destruction and warnings of what could happen if Earth resisted. On the screens, cities burned, fleets were destroyed, and the humans themselves seemed powerless.
Jack did not flinch. This is just a warning, he said. They are trying to scare us, but fear will not work. Humans fight best when we are pushed to the edge. Remember that.
Laura stepped forward. We can respond with strength without violence. We can show them intelligence, unity, and courage.
That will speak louder than any weapon, Jack agreed. Prepare a counter-signal. Show them that we understand their power, but that we will not surrender. Let them know Earth cannot be taken. The team sent the message. It was simple, yet firm. It displayed Earth, humans working together, fleets preparing, and technology adapting. It was not a threat, but a clear warning. Humans would fight, and they were capable of surprising even the most confident alien commanders. The aliens hesitated.
Their scouts paused, scanning every human move carefully. They had never encountered a species that responded so cleverly to force without immediately attacking. Humans were unpredictable, and the Empire's calculations failed to predict what would happen next. Meanwhile, pilots trained for space maneuvers, civilian ships converted to emergency defense roles, and drones flew in formation, ready to confuse any attackers.
Megan Lewis watched the simulation on her screen. This is working.
They are learning to hesitate. That hesitation is enough for us to defend the planet.
Jack smiled. Good. Keep it up. Every day we survive, every strategy that works teaches the aliens that humans are dangerous.
The first real test of human ingenuity came when an alien fleet attempted to enter low Earth orbit. Using a combination of decoys and rapid satellite reprogramming, humans tricked the fleet into colliding with empty space debris.
The alien ships were damaged, not by weapons, but by the clever use of the environment. Jack could hardly contain his satisfaction.
Humans fight differently, he said quietly. We use the world, the stars, everything around us.
That's what they don't understand yet. Laura worked on analyzing alien patterns. They rely on prediction.
They calculate what we will do next. But if we do something no one expects,
We can turn their intelligence into a weakness. Admiral Luke Carter implemented this strategy immediately.
drones moved in unpredictable patterns, satellites flashed false signals, and human pilots executed maneuvers that no simulation could predict. The aliens struggled to adapt. Their own technology, meant to be precise, became confused by human unpredictability. On the ground, civilians remained unaware of the drama unfolding in space.
Kevin Long repaired machinery. Lily Morgan taught her students, and Robert Fields walked through his fields.
The aliens appeared, their tall, reflective forms glinting under the station lights. Their eyes scanned the humans carefully, not with suspicion this time, but with a kind of recognition.
Laura noticed it immediately. They see us now, she whispered. They understand humans are different. Jack nodded. Yes.
And we need to make this clear. Earth is ours. We will defend it, and we expect respect. Captain Daniel Harper stepped forward and began communication. We are willing to speak openly, he said.
But you must understand one thing. Earth cannot be taken. Humans will defend their home no matter what you bring. We are strong. We are clever. And we are united. Attack us, and you will see that unpredictability is our greatest weapon. The aliens projected images in response, showing fleets of ships and calculations of potential human moves.
But Jack and his team noticed something new. The aliens hesitated, reconsidering. Humans were not following the patterns they expected.
Every plan, every maneuver, every action had surprised them. Laura spoke next.
We do not want war, but we will fight to protect our world. We hope you understand that now. Humans are not to be underestimated.
The aliens paused slowly. Their images shifted. Instead of showing destruction, they displayed symbols of acknowledgement, respect, and recognition. For the first time, they seemed to see humans not as weak creatures, but as worthy opponents. Jack felt a surge of relief. They understand.
At least, they are starting to understand.
Over the next few days, humans and the alien scouts engaged in careful negotiations. Jack, Laura, and Daniel made it clear that Earth was defended, that humans were clever and adaptable, and that any attack would be met with a strong, intelligent response.
The aliens listened, calculated, and ultimately agreed to leave Earth untouched. For now.